Hello! My name is Caleb and today we're gonna be talking about my favorite books of 2017. I think we all can agree that 2017 was a very different year in general. I'm not gonna say it was a bad year because personally I had like an amazing year, like a personally good year. I feel like I did a lot of things and I was really happy all year and like I'm just content, you know? Like for the first time I'm like happy, I'm satisfied. And of course everybody on the internet is like 2017 sucks, everything sucks, everything sucks. But I had a great year. So I'm gonna be positive, I'm an optimist, I wanna assume the best about 2018. I had a great 2017 in a lot of areas of my life, but maybe you've noticed over the past year, I read 21 books in the year of 2017. And you might be saying, wow, he barely read anything. Like surprisingly, a lot of people don't like the idea of me not reading 100 books. All year long, I've just had this thing where I pick up a book and I start reading and then I'm immediately like, I'm not having a fun time, let's close this book. The big thing for me was I read for pleasure, right? I want to sit down and have a good time reading a book. So why would I force myself to read when I'm not going to be having a good time? So that's part of the reason why I only read 21 books. And a lot of people might be like, he doesn't read anymore, which a lot of people have felt like they need to tell me that. That's a lot to say to somebody. Like, oh, you don't like this because you haven't been doing it as much as you ever have been. Like, I'm a big fan of spaghetti, so that's like saying like maybe there's a week where I'm like, I'm not really craving spaghetti. I love spaghetti, obviously, and I still will eat it on the occasion, but for some reason I don't have that like spark of passion with pasta this year. You know what I'm saying? Does that mean I hate pasta? Does that mean I'm not a pasta fan anymore? No, I still like spaghetti, okay? Stop telling me I don't like spaghetti. I do, except it's books, not spaghetti, but I don't like spaghetti that much anyway, but I like books, okay? So stop telling me I'm not a real reader. And let me say, I had a great 2017 and I would rather read 21 books and say that I had a good year than read 100 books and have a mediocre year, so I think I win. Sorry. Normally I have a top 10 favorites list, but I obviously don't have enough this year, so I wasn't even gonna film this video. I was just gonna kind of like push it off because also a million people do these videos. There was one morning where I woke up, there was like 4 in a row that was like favorite books, favorite books, favorite books, and I was just like cracking up laughing. A lot of people got favorite books this year, am I right? So we have 5 favorite books, 2 honorable mentions, and then we have 3 least favorite books. So we're gonna begin with the least favorite books because a lot of people love when I rant. I feel like that's something on this channel that I want to get past in 2018. Like people just say, I love how you hate things, and I'm like, thanks. Like I don't know what to say to that, and I like don't want my reputation to be hating everything. I would rather love things. So let's get into the least favorite books of 2017. All these books are contemporary books, which says a lot. I've realized that it takes a lot more for a contemporary to impress me. I read several and a lot of them just were terrible. So the first of which is a book that I was so excited to love and I was like ready for it to be one of my favorites, and then it was not good, and that was The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. For some reason this just like never really hit the mark for me. I binged this in one day and I just remember being like kind of freaked out the whole time because like there was this scene or whatever and like the guy was just like following her and he was like, she's pretty, let's follow her around. Like it was only for a little bit, but I was like, that is so weird and creepy. Like they like met and then she was like going somewhere and he was like, I'm gonna follow her. Like that was that. There are a lot of like side characters that we cut to for like a few pages, and I know that that was supposed to be like, sometimes your love affects everybody and keep in mind what the people around you are going through. And that's a great message and I really love the message of this book, don't get me wrong, but I don't fall for insta love anymore. Like it used to be something I could get over, but like now I can't. Like even reading City of Bones, you've known her for like 2 days and you're like kissing in the greenhouse, like are you kidding me? Insta love is done. Like even with my favorite books, like I'm aware of it. This is probably more of a 2 stars. I don't remember what I originally gave it, but like there were some scenes where I was like, they're kind of really cute together, but also in the back of my mind I was like, they met like an hour ago. So up next was a book that I never expected to be on this list, and I'm kind of really sad that it is on this list, and that is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. Look at the dogs. Like for real, I went into this book so happy. There was like dogs all the time. She was talking about dogs. The place where this book went wrong for me is the size. I feel like this book could have been half the size. This is like 500 pages, okay? For a contemporary book about a girl who walks dogs. There's only so much of that I can take in without being extremely bored. Like I feel like there's so many scenes that just dragged on for incredibly long periods of time. It's like this scene, I feel like, where I was reading it for like 100 pages about this stupid dog like throwing up and running around the house. I started reading this in the summer, so I was like perfectly like vacation feeling, you know? It just kind of didn't get there. Like I feel like there was a lot of things I was waiting for and it just never picked up. There is a pug on the cover, so that's why I only gave it a 2 stars instead of a 1 star, but this just wasn't my favorite. Maybe I read it at the wrong time. I did love the friend group. Like that was one of the only things I did like, but like the whole story I did not like. So, sorry. Okay, and I'm sure we can all guess what this last book is because this is a book I've talked about quite a bit, and that's Always and Forever Lara Jean by Jenny Han. Look it, I still have the stickers because I'm still convinced that I'm gonna return this even though I like spilled stuff on it. This book was incredibly brutal. I loved the first 2 and I was excited for this one. I got it like a week or 2 after the release and I wanted to die. It was just really messy. I feel like it was very tacked on, and like I feel like for contemporaries you can just tack something on. It doesn't feel like that. Here I feel like the characters were cheesy. I feel like the main character was like a child. Like she would say things and do things where I was just like, you're like 18, you know? No. Like I just feel like there was no backbone in this book. It was just kind of like fluffy, we're family and we're just having a good time. Nothing happens, nothing sad, don't talk about it. It was just a very melodramatic book that was really watered down and just kind of like, we're really doing nothing. Nothing felt like it was advancing any type of story because she's already in a relationship. All this stuff has already happened in these 2 books that have been set up and like perfected, and then we're just here now and we're just having a good time. Like I don't want to read a book about people just sitting there having a good time. I'm sorry, but like there's no problems in this book besides the fact that like we're going to college soon, and it was just really boring and just really not good. So okay, those are my least favorite books of 2017. Maybe they're a surprise to you. I just don't even know anymore. I'm just like feeling like a lot of feelings. So now we have 2 honorable mentions. These 2 books were books that I liked a lot and I'm really excited to see where one of them goes in the future, but then there's the other one where like you probably can guess what it is because I've like said this all the time, but I still don't know what I want to rate it. It's like just been floating around. I loved it and then I didn't, and then I loved it and then I didn't. I'm messed up from this and I'm still trying to figure it out, and hopefully this year I'll come to a conclusion about it. The first one is one that I read in the summer, and this was a book that I loved so much, but because I read it over like the period of like 3 months. I was going to Jamaica, I was reading it on flights and in between terminals, and like every night I would just read like a chapter and then close it, and like I barely made any progress through this book for like the longest time. And I loved it so much, and when I was reading it I was having a good time, but I think just because I did read it all over the place and over a longer period of time that it hindered the experience for me. So I gave this a 4.5, but I did love it very much. I know it was because I was all over the place when I was reading this book. I feel like it deserves to be on this list because if I would have read this at a different time, it would have been on this list for sure as a 5-star, but like it's just kind of floating in this area of like 4.5, 4.7, I don't really know, but like I know I love this book and I still think about this book all the time, so yeet. And our last honorable mention, I'm sure we all know her, my most anticipated book of this year. At least I thought she was, but then like 3 weeks later, like my mind was like, what were you thinking? And that's A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. If you don't know my thoughts, I have a 45-minute video on my channel. I don't know why it's that long, but it's there. This book was all over the place for me. At the beginning, I was like kind of freaking out just because I was like, this book is in my hands, even though I was bored out of my mind. Favor's doing all this stuff that's not advancing the story at all and never come into play at all. And then things started advancing. I'm sure you can guess what I'm talking about, like right after the first 150 page mark. And I was really excited and I was like, okay, all this stuff is finally gonna happen, the exposition over, and then we sat there, and then we sat there, and then we sat there, and then we sat there some more, and then in the last 200, 300 pages, things happened again. I really didn't want to spend like a third of this finale sitting in Reese's townhouse. Like I really didn't, and like things really did pick up, okay? Like at the end, I was like clutching my chest sobbing. Be happy, Feyre, but I wasn't. I don't know, I still don't know, and I'm still having like a panic attack every time I think about it because I love this book, but I don't. And I think I'm gonna land with this book at a 4 stars because I'm drifting between a 5 and a 3, and 4 is just like a middle ground. But like I think about this book sometimes and I'm like clutching my heart being like, I love everybody, and then there's other times where I'm like, remember when we sat there for 300 pages? This book will just continue to float in I don't know land. Maybe that novella comes out, maybe that will like mark my feelings for sure. I don't know, okay? I don't know. Alright, now that we're done with that, we're finally at the actual reason why we're here. That's the favorite books of 2017. I have 5 of them. Although I'm sure you can guess what a lot of these books are because I'm very predictable. We're gonna go in descending order of like my least favorite to like my favorite. It's messy and I don't really understand it either, but like not my favorite to like my favorite, not as favorite to like my favorite. I'm gonna have a stroke if I keep this up. So my 5th favorite book of the year is Let's Talk About Love by Claire Kahn. This book still isn't out and it comes out in January 2018. It's currently January 2018. I don't know what day this comes out because I already read it, so I don't really care. But it was so good. Like the representation was fantastic. Like it's not out yet, so I feel weird having it on this list because like nobody else can relate besides me. But this book was spectacular, flameless. That word is a word I made up in some video this year and like I'm just gonna keep using it because I think it's freaking funny. So this book was spectacular, flameless. It was like one of those days where like I didn't have anything I needed to do. I was all caught up on schoolwork, so I was just like, let's just go outside and lay in my hammock and just let the gentle breeze drift me around. I'll just read. I read the whole thing. There was a good group of friends and there was a really nice cast of characters that I like genuinely cared about as people, and like I cared about their stories a lot. So that is why this is one of my favorite books of the year. I highly recommend this book and I hope that you read it in 2018. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so the next book is a book that everybody ever has been asking me if I like, because in a video I said I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this book, and then I loved it, and then everybody forever was asking me if I liked this book, and then I posted a review on Goodreads, and then everybody was asking me if I liked this book, and then I said on Twitter and Snapchat, and everybody continued to ask me if I liked this book, and I'm sick of it, so here it is. That's Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I was really worried about this book for a really long time because the synopsis was really weird and I wasn't really sure what it was going to be about, and I wasn't sure about John Green's writing. This book captivated me from the very beginning. Representation of mental illness was spectacular in this book. I found it very interesting and enlightening. It was very, very personal. Like, I could feel John Green putting a lot of himself into that book, and that's really something I respect in a book. I really love when authors put themselves in their books. So, the thing I'm starting to realize about John Green is that although his characters are unbelievable, it's fiction, and I don't really care if it's unbelievable because it was really good. So, I gave this a 5 stars. It was one of my favorites. I'm so glad this book, like, happened this year, especially because I was kind of going on a path where I was like, I don't really like John Green. I think I do now, because this book was really, really good. So, this was a 5 stars. I'm sure you already read it because everybody ever did, so we're just gonna move on. Okay, here we go. We in the top 3. My next one, the number 3 favorite of the year, Wonder Woman Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo. My girl, she is still my girl. Let me just tell you, Leigh Bardugo never let me down. Never one day. Even if she like published like her just screaming ah in all caps for 100 pages, I would still love it. This book was really good. It was like a road trip, except we're running away from like this government. It's so funny as well. Like, I was like laughing so hard at some points in this book. It was so good and I love this so much, and I just really, really hope that you read this book. Alrighty, now that we only have 2 books, I'm sure we've reached the part of this video where nobody really cares anymore because they already know my thoughts on these 2 books, because these are the only 2 books I talked about all year long. I'm sure you can guess based on my several Snapchats of me just screaming at the top of my lungs, me talking about them non-stop, and making memes about it on Twitter. So, although this book is not my number 1 of the year, this book was my favorite book for the longest time, and then you know who came around just a few months later and was like, haha, what? What did you think? No, I don't think so. And that book was A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Y'all don't even know how much I love this book. Like, I'd gone 2 months of barely reading anything and feeling really insecure about myself and being like, why am I putting myself through reading books if I'm not having a good time? And I just felt really, really like garbage because I would start books and then not be able to finish them, and then I'd start another book and not be able to finish it, and then she swooped in and was like, hey Caleb, you want to read me? And then I read it and it was so good. Although it's not my number 1, I do give this book all the respect in the world because this was just like so captivating from the very beginning. This book is still around in my heart. The way this book ended was there were a lot of things where I was like, wait, what? How is this gonna happen? What about this and this? And although Aquar kind of killed those things because they obviously got resolved, I still think about the things in this book, like the way it ended, as if it hasn't been resolved. And I'm just like, what about his wings? But like, I know what happens, but I don't care, okay? I don't care. This is one of my favorites of all time. Always gonna look at this and like think of myself from February when I was just like freaking out reading this and like clutching my heart. And then I had to go somewhere later that night and I was just like, So you should read this book, even though a lot of people don't like this series, and I get why, but like, I loved it, so I loved it, okay? I'm sure we all know who number 1 is, because Caleb is predictable, and he kind of accidentally said it earlier, but who really cares? We all know who she is. Every time I've done a favorites video, she's been number 1. And although it's very predictable, and I'm sure in 2018, a certain sequel is gonna come out, and it's gonna be my number 1 as well, because again, I'm predictable. Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. Look at what I did to this. There is no other book where I've tabbed like every page. Cassandra Clare is my favorite author. Of course a lot of people hate her because people hate anybody who has any amount of success. And this series has done so much for my life, and I will forever love it, and I will forever read this series. And although people do hate it, and I understand why, this changed my life, and I will forever be clutching my heart thinking about Emma and Julian, listening to Sorry by Halsey in the dark under a blanket. So sorry that the list was kind of boring at the end because we all knew, but yeah, that's it. So these were my favorite books of 2017. I hope you enjoyed this video. Listen, although it wasn't a good year of reading, I'm really happy, and I'm so excited for 2018. I'm gonna try to make really fun, original content that I'm excited about, and if you're not excited about it, like, I get it. Like, it's gonna be some weird stuff popping up on the occasion, but I'm really excited for it, and I'm really happy about what I'm gonna be doing this year, so yeet! Also, I feel like I should say this in a video to hold myself more accountable, but I think I want to start posting videos on Tuesdays. Okay, I had to put those books down because it was like hurting me. Something I want to do in 2018 is post a video every single week, and I was trying to think of a day that worked the best for me, and that was Tuesday. And the day I'm filming this is Tuesday, the first Tuesday of the year, and it's currently like 2:30, and I haven't even finished filming it yet. It's gonna be a fun afternoon for me. I want to post every single week. That's always been something I've wanted to strive to do, but I've had nothing pushing me. Like, there would be times where I'm like, I don't feel like editing, like, and there's nothing holding me to it. Like, although it's been a week, like, who cares? Like, I already posted a week ago, so just rewatch that one. So I'm gonna try to post every single Tuesday. Trust me, there will be days where there's a late video, a day late, I don't know, but I'm gonna really try this year. I'm really excited for content I'm gonna be making this year. So I'm gonna be posting videos every Tuesday, or at least I'm gonna try to. I hope that I can actually like maintain that schedule, because that's something that I've really wanted to do for a long time. So today's Tuesday, so I gotta quickly edit and post this today. You can expect a video every Tuesday. If not, just DM me on Twitter and tell me I'm scum, because there will definitely be a Tuesday when that happens. Let's be real, we all know who we talking about, so. Thanks for watching all my videos this 2017. It means the world to me. Like, for real, I just like kind of like make really stupid videos and people watch them. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thanks for spending 2017 with me. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video next Tuesday. Although I'm probably gonna post other days of the week too. Make sure to let me know your favorite books of 2017. How many books did you read? Did you read more than me? Probably. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye! In 2018, new year, new me. I'm changing my channel name to Little Demon Kid, because the person who said I was a little demon because I folded a book page. Okay, I'm sorry, that was a lot.